Neuvillette and Furina have a strange relationship for a dragon sovereign and an archon. While he seems to be the one in charge, she almost feels like a mascot who doesn't have any real power apart from her title. In the 4.0 quests, it's almost like Neuvillette is the older sibling or mentor, and Furina is the immature sibling or student. From what we've seen of her, she seems to be putting on a front as the Archon. Freminet even remarks that he thinks she's hiding something.
Okay, fine. I've seen what the Hydro Archon's like when she's sitting in the audience. In my view, she's a very charismatic speaker, but it's her silences that intrigue me more. Her eyes, they're like the darkness at the bottom of the ocean, hiding a deep secret, afraid of anyone ever getting close to her.
But from what I've found, I think that the roles were once reversed, at least when Furina was her complete self. I'll explain as we go, starting with the first thing I noticed in Neuvillette's trailer. The symbol on his left hand is similar to the type we get when taking the powers of the xenochromatic creatures. Then we can see in the 4.1 trailer, his right hand has a different symbol shaped like a diamond or a Vesica Pisces. Interestingly, the Vesica Pisces, when vertical, as shown here, represents divine glory. Both times that we see him presenting the symbols on his hands, we hear the voice of Furina in the ancient past, encouraging him and seeming to take the role of a mentor.
Many questions have long perplexed me. I neither know why I was born in this form, nor do I understand where my long life should take me. It's as if there's something I've forgotten since the very beginning.
So, why don't you try to find the answer for yourself?
This is in stark contrast to how their relationship is now. With this information in mind, it may be that in the past, Furina sacrificed her powers or a part of herself in order to help Neuvillette and Fontaine as a whole. Since we gain those symbols after taking control of the xenochromatic creature's abilities, it could be that Neuvillette gained new abilities as a gift from Furina in order to keep Fontaine safe. But why would she do that? It could be that she felt Neuvillette had been unjustly treated in the past and deserved to represent Fontaine instead of her. We're told in Enkanomiya that the new Hydro Sovereign would be born as a human due to the terrible experiments done on the Baptismal Vishaps, making them impure. We also know the Primordial One took the world from the Sovereigns and either killed or imprisoned them in the ancient past. If I were the God of Justice and learned this, I'd probably feel the same way. The dragons had their world stolen from them and were punished for resisting the invaders. To me at least, they have more right to rule than Celestia, who seem to be barely able to prevent the Abyss from destroying the world. If she didn't give up her powers to him, it may be that she transferred them to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale to harvest the energy known as Indemnitium. We can even see that Furina has the same teardrop gemstone on her hat as the one on the Oratrice, potentially symbolizing their close relationship other than it being a creation of hers. Indemnitium is based on the word indemnity, which is like an insurance or protection against a loss or other financial burden, so we can take it to be an energy Furina is collecting to use as a last resort to prevent the prophecy from happening. Since the energy is created by harvesting people's belief in justice, and the gods gain power through people's belief, it could be that it's not just her powers within the Oratrice, but that the divine part of Furina was split off from her human form and is locked inside the oratories to collect the energy. This fits with what we hear in the Fountain of Lucine after completing the 4.0 Archon quests. She seems to say,
So interminable. So lonely. Just how much longer?
which thematically fits divine Furina more, as she would be stuck inside a box for hundreds of years. But emotionally, human Furina seems much more fragile, so it could be that she's lonely and missing the other side of herself. This lines up with the idea that Furina's eyes represent a split personality or two souls within her, and the one we meet is the weaker and more childish of the two. It would also explain why, when Neuvillette is remembering Furina's words from the past, that her voice seems much more mature, and she takes the role of a mentor and guide for him. So it'd be kind of like three siblings. Divine Furina would be the older sister, taking care of the other two, and after she sealed herself within the oratories, Neuvillette, as the middle sibling, would take care of human Furina, the youngest of the three. I'm not talking about literal ages, of course, but more the dynamic of their relationships. So I think that Neuvillette was rescued by Furina in the ancient past, as we hear of the Hydro Sovereign being confined in the Echoes of the Deep domain, and of the later Dragon King Scylla being sealed under a tower of Remoria, especially with what Furina says in the 4.1 trailer.
You will see much in the human world, from the delightful to the depressing. And one day, when you have dwelt among humanity long enough, you will be placed to bring judgment over all as a spokesperson for Fontaine's past.
So she's talking to him somewhere other than the human world here, meaning that he was most likely sealed in the abyss and brought to the human world when she found him. Now I'm left with another question. Why would she rescue someone who is supposed to be her enemy? It could be that she needed him to help prevent the prophecy told by the previous Hydro Archon Egeria, as being the sovereign of water, surely he'd be the best choice to help prevent a flood, especially since Celestia are AFK and seem to do nothing but drop nails down every now and then. But that leads me to another question. How would she convince him to fight on the side of his enemies? Well, Furina in real-world mythology was a Roman goddess of Etruscan origin associated with spring and water. However, the name Furina means thief. I can see the Oceanids and Sovereigns viewing her as a thief after taking the title of Archon, but perhaps this goes a bit deeper, and instead of gifting powers to Neuvillette, she actually stole something from him, like his memories. This could be to get him on their side, as when we met Apep, she basically told us she'd never side with us and still harbored anger towards humanity and the gods. If Neuvillette felt the same way, and Furina needed his help to prevent the prophecy, I can envision her stealing his memories via the markings on his hands as we steal the powers from the xenochromatic creatures. Without these memories of humanity and the gods wronging him, it may have allowed him to start at a more neutral stance on humanity, which slowly grew into a love for them over hundreds of years, as well as under the teachings of divine Furina. When Neuvillette is holding back what looks to be the primordial seawater, it seems that this plan is working, as I doubt anyone else other than a tiny handful of gods like Istaroth could do the same. But this may be a bit of a double-edged sword for Furina's plans, due to the god king Remus of Remoria. He took the primordial seawater from the first Hydro Sovereign and extracted a golden ichor from it, mixing it with pure waters to dissolve people and place their souls into golems of stone. The process of severing a person's soul in this way was too painful for many to bear, and amidst their crying, howling spirits, the golden ichor lost its harmony and was dyed black, leaving only chaos and madness behind. Kind of sounding like the abyss, which is probably why the primordial seawater Neuvillette is holding back, has that classic abyssal purple color to it. If Neuvillette was the Dragon King known as Scylla, who went to war against Remus for attempting to replace all water with his golden ichor, I imagine he'd view the gods and humans as stupid and dangerous. Especially considering that Remus's governor Boethius used the golden ichor to seal Scylla beneath a tower in Remoria. With the ichor becoming corrupted and filled with chaos and madness, it likely had at least some negative effect on Scylla, potentially even leading him to madness himself. If that is the case, perhaps what Furina stole from him were only the torturous memories of his time sealed away down there, surrounded by the howling souls of Remoria. But if those memories return, he could become a threat just as great as the one in the prophecy. Anyway, that's all I've got on the relationship between Neuvillette and Furina for now. I think we'll find out a lot more information very soon in patch 4.1. I can't wait to get him, and maybe his weapon, even though the weapon banner is cursed. Let me know what your plans are for pulling the Sad Dragon Man or Furina in the comments. Good luck on your wishes, and I hope you have a great day.